Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of all of us at Phoenix International Raceway, welcome to the Ritz-Carlton in Phoenix. My name is Scott Round, and I'll be helping assist in our program today. Beginning on my left, the president of Phoenix International Raceway, Mr. Bryan R. Sperber.
Thank you, Scott, and good afternoon. Totally thrilled that all of you could join us for today's big announcement. So let's get right to it, and let's let the cat out of the bag. 2014 will be the 50th anniversary season of Phoenix International Raceway.
All of us at PIR are especially delighted to introduce our next guest, the Honorable Jan Brewer.
Let me begin by saying how thrilled I am to be here today to help celebrate the 50-year anniversary of Arizona's first professional sport, the races at Phoenix International Raceway. You know, when it comes to PIR, these folks don't believe in finishing second. No, these folks race to win.
Our next guest was really key and instrumental as we watched NASCAR's expansion and movement throughout the United States and as it moved towards the West Coast. Kenn Clapp, currently chairman of the West Coast Stock Car Hall of Fame. And by the way, Kenn, one of your recent inductees, Buddy Job, is in the audience here today. I should have mentioned that in the introduction, Buddy. Congratulations. Kenn was a former vice president with NASCAR, and his work really was key to PIR and all the West Coast tracks being where they are today. With that, Kenn.
Thank you all for being here, number one. I just made note that only Tom Sneva and Kenn Clapp don't have prepared notes. I don't know how that speaks for former race car drivers and old promoters, but Tom, we'll make it through this fun. They only gave me 45 minutes to speak, so I'm going to keep it down to about 3 or 4. I tell people this all the time. There's 3 or 4 track presidents in the United States that I consider in a different world than the other 40 or 50, and Bryan is clearly one of them.
Next guest we'd like to introduce has also been a longtime champion for Phoenix International Raceway, Mary Rose Wilcox.
I have to say that PIR is the oldest sports franchise in the state of Arizona, and I'm pretty old, and I know that because if they're that old, I remember when they opened, so.
Our next guest, also a resident with us in Avondale, our own mayor, Marie Lopez Rogers.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It is an honor to be here among my colleagues and congratulating Phoenix International Raceway on 50 wonderful years of racing.
Our next guest brings a truly unique perspective to today's conversation. He can speak to Phoenix International Raceway both from a competitor and a competitor in the sport, but also as a resident of the Valley and a sports fan in the community. With that introduction, we'd like to turn it over to Mr. Tom Sneva.
Thank you. Well, the reason I don't have any notes is I'm sort of a backup driver, I guess, on this panel this morning. Bryan had Mario Andretti scheduled to come, and but I think it was just yesterday, wasn't it, that he had a small fire in his home in Nazareth, and that caused him some concern. I heard that it destroyed the entire library, all 3 books.
The next thing we're going to do is actually I'd like to ask all of our panelists. We have a special unveil scheduled over here in the corner.
Okay, we're joined here by Bryan Sperber, the president of Phoenix International Raceway. Just announced, just a second ago, a year-long kickoff, a celebration of the 50th anniversary, I should say, of PIR. What a community support project here. The governor, all the mayors were out here. Even Tom Sneva, one of our old gas man guys, shows up. So Buddy Job and everybody. Bryan, what does that mean to you as a president of this track?
The reality of that is that as great as that success has been, it's really a shared success, meaning that without the support of the community in this great state, we would have been in no position to be able to host these types of events. And so when we look back on our 50 years, it's more than just the racing. It's really an opportunity to celebrate these accomplishments with the entire community and really look back and be very proud of what all of us have accomplished.
Brian, I totally agree. One of the things that really impressed me, what I heard, was this rolling museum we're going to be having with all the different eras over the 50 years. What do you expect out there, as far as fan participation? Will it be easy to get into it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things that I'm most looking forward to about the 50th anniversary year is that we're going to have an exhibit called Memory Lane, where our team has reached out and found old race cars that have some sort of significant tie to Phoenix International Raceway. And I can tell you, that was a lot of detective work to track these cars down, but we were able to find a 1964 race winner, the very first pro race that we had that A.J. Foyt piloted, and the first car that Alan Quickie won, our first NASCAR race. I found both of those cars, and they're both coming back to PIR. First time since they were actually in our victory lane, and many other cars that are historically significant, as well as other exhibits and opportunities for fans to interact with, whether it's cars, exhibits, or in some cases personalities. And so that we'll be hosting Memory Lane at both the spring NASCAR weekend and the fall race. So 2 chances to see it. The exhibit will change a little bit too, which is kind of exciting. So what we see in the spring race will be different than what we see in the fall. So I really encourage all the fans or anybody even just interested in the exhibit itself to make plans to come for both race weekends.
That's right. And if I were you, I'd get your motorhome spot now because it's filling up fast.